Investment Realtors Podcast.
That's us.
That is us. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Monday afternoon?
I'm sure they're good, but they can't answer.
They cannot. Only in the comments they can, and the emails.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment below.
Yes, please. Okay, so we're going to, it seems like the theme of the question and answer podcast really is picked up. A lot of emails just keep flooding in. We're taking the time to answer them all, but anyway, we'll get to you. We see.
Yeah,
you.
we're sorry if we missed you. I know there's a lot to go through. You've been up all night with those, so
we're very humbled to see the outreach and the outpour. So that's been great. So one of our viewers today, as a first-time home buyer, was asking in our personal experience when we're helping a buyer, because as we know, no one buyer is the same, no situation is the same. They want to know kind of how we've guided them in their, I guess, decision making on what home that they've ended up in,
and what are their thoughts on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, some people are budget dependent. Obviously, most people are budget dependent, so just kind of the styles and what's worked for people. So if you want to maybe kind of take away for that first-time home buyer we had where they needed a dual income, meaning they lived on top and then they were renting out the bottom in order to kind of offset costs and for the approval.
Yeah, so the last, like you mentioned, the last buyer we had was a first-time home buyer.
Yeah.
They did have 20% down.
Okay.
So just putting into my calculator here, they had 20% down, which was $100,000.
Okay.
Okay, and they were looking at about a place that was $500,000.
Okay.
Now this obviously wasn't in Bolton,
and this was probably pre-pandemic.
And this was pre-pandemic.
Yep.
But for example, they were looking for that, and let me put these numbers in here.
And now maybe so you could break down to the viewers also what's the difference because there's a big misconception on the 20% down that's the only way you could buy. What's the minimum somebody could put down and kind of what the pros and cons are and the offsets to that?
So with a conventional lender, you need minimum 5 they want. And when you're anywhere between 5% and 20%, when you're in that range of a down payment, you have to have an insured mortgage, which is insured under CMHC in Canada. So that's just an extra price per month you're paying on top of your mortgage because you don't have the 20%, so you're considered a high-risk mortgage. When you're high risk, they need some other insurance basically to approve you of that mortgage. So as long as you qualify for the base mortgage plus that insurance, you could buy that house. So we were looking at this couple. They were looking for $500,000.
Okay.
They had the $100,000 down.
Yes.
Now at a mortgage rate of 6.79, which is what we're at tonight, their mortgage with taxes is still going to be around almost $3,200 a month. Okay. So what do you do in that situation?
What do you do?
What we suggested was we'll find you a house, a smaller end house, a starter home, but with the potential for a basement apartment. Now, in the area that they were looking, the basement apartments were about $1,500 a month. You could rent it out.
Decent.
So you take their monthly payments of $3,200 and you subtract the $1,500 for the basement. That means they only have to come up with $1,700 a month. Now, for them, that worked.
Absolutely.
They could afford it. Between both their incomes, they had enough money to live, buy clothes, buy cars, insurance, gas, all that stuff was fine. That worked for them.
Okay.
Now, we do know there's a lot of people, they don't want anybody living in their basement. They want their whole house by themselves.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. But when you look at what they got, I mean, that's a pretty good income.
Absolutely.
For their house.
Absolutely.
The house in particular, they did everything. It was separated from two doors, 2 locked doors. Laundry was separate, and it was soundproofed.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
It's a big difference. A lot of people put like the soundproof insulation. You could do the Roxol in there. Right. You could do either thick or drywall on top. Right. So there are options so you don't hear them. And we always recommend, especially for first-time home buyers, you don't want to be house poor.
Absolutely.
Right. Any little thing can help. I mean, there's a lot of places you could find that are either already duplexes, triplexes, or have a basement apartment. So that for their situation, that worked out. Right.
And now what we always explain to the first-time home buyers, because I mean, obviously, even though it's the first time, you want to make sure that you're kind of getting something that you're still going to be happy with. But what we always explain to our first time home buyers is it's getting into the market.
Yeah.
Once you've bought in that first property, it's just exchanging paperwork afterwards is what we say. The hardest step is getting into the market. So I mean, you can't kind of get bogged down on the little details of, maybe the layout or the finishes, because those are all things that you could change. Maybe the layout, not so much, but it doesn't need to be forever. The whole objective of the game is get in there with these people that were great, first-time home buyers. They offset their mortgage by about half, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, they're building equity. So now fast forward 5 years, when they've had a good chunk of their mortgage paid off, they can now trade up to a house where maybe they don't need the renter because their mortgage isn't as high.
Yeah.
So it's those small sacrifices that I mean, it's human nature. Sometimes you don't want to make because you don't feel like you have to, you want to. But what we want and what we get are two different things in everything in life.
In everything, you right. But even that house specifically,
yes,
because it's already renting out the basement. What they could do ideally, if everything goes well according to plan, and they keep their jobs and they're making the same money they're making, and this renter's paying off their mortgage in a few years, like you said, let's say 5, and they've taken away like a big chunk of that house, they could use that house as leverage, right, to buy another house.
Now you're
rent out rent out the downstairs, continue renting it out, but then rent out the upstairs, use that income and qualify for another house. And then that's how people we've known and we've talked to in the industry, that's how they've built their wealth.
That's how you can do it.
So, I mean, there is a way to do it through real estate, and that's the way you do it. You start small.
Absolutely.
Rent it out top and bottom, and you move on to the next one.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess the biggest takeaway to answer our viewers' question is there is no one size fits all. There are a lot of people in different stages in life with different down payments, different mortgages, just different circumstances where, we know some people that just family wealth or they've made their own wealth. And of course, they could kind of skip the first time home buyer of maybe the townhouse or the dual income and just they have a very small mortgage, if any at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody's different. It is what it is. Exactly.
They won't need help for renters.
So there isn't a one size fits all like we always say. So I mean, what we always encourage, because then there's been a lot of people we've helped where they're like, yeah, I thought I was just a renter forever, and we've broken down. Well, okay, the misconception with the 20% down. Of course, we always recommend 20% down because your mortgage is going to be less.
Yeah.
But what we've helped our clients in the past is, some of them have put down 5%, and even though their mortgage has been more expensive, the equity they built up by being able to be in the house game offset paying the higher mortgage as opposed to them waiting, the extra 5 years to put more than 5% down. And again, that's not saying that every situation is like that, but there are different situations that work out for different people.
Yeah, it depends what your end goal is. Like, do you want to build wealth through real estate, or you kind of just want to have? Some people don't want to be landlords.
And especially talking to our friends, family, and clients now, being a landlord's not what it used to be in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. It's
tough.
It's very, very tough. You have to dot all your I's, cross all your T's, and even then, as a landlord, you don't have a lot of say or what you should do, but you just have to be careful, like everything else, and make sure you
do the right thing, live an honest life, treat people how you want to be treated, and usually it'll work out for you.
Yeah. And even when you're vetting your tenants, just like when people get realtors involved, of course, you want that safe go. But at the end of the day, if they're your tenants, make sure that you're vetting them. Make sure you're comfortable with who they are. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one that's going to be left with them.
Yeah. Don't always trust the realtor. Like, at the end of the day,
I beg your pardon.
Yeah, I know we're realtors, but you got to have that gut feeling, gut intuition where they might look good on paper, but at the end of the day, it should be your decision.
And sometimes we've gotten that where, these people have checked out on paper and they've been terrible people, and then vice versa. Sometimes circumstances, they don't have good credit.
Yeah.
They're in between jobs, in between places, and they don't check out on paper, but they've been amazing tenants.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the luck of the draw.
And you also have to do the right things.
Oh, of course.
You got to make sure you're treating people how you want to be treated, and do the right things. Don't do stuff with a vicious intent or like kind of, not for the right reasons.
Of course.
And when you're giving, you give without the expectation of getting something back.
Always.
So
Always.
we'll leave you on that one today.
Yeah.
I told you guys we got a lot of topics to cover with these Q&As.
It'll take us a while to get through them.
Oh yeah,
bear with us.
Oh yeah, we're trying to pump them out once a week at the very least. So like, comment, subscribe,
keep sending those emails.
Absolutely,
please, guys. Like, it's been nothing but great for us. I mean, we share them with our friends and family, and they love it.
It's great. It's great. It's really humbling. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next one.
All right, signing off, guys.
Take it easy.